And this time, his opponent is not the one of the number one pound for pound fighters in the world. His opponent's Tim Elliott. So Kai Asakura will win this fight. Um, Tim Elliott has a good grappling game, which is clearly a weakness to Asakura. But as long as Asakura can learn from his mistakes and defend the takedowns, which will not be as serious, aggressive, or destructive as Pantoja's. Pantoja is like one of a kind, so we don't have to worry about it too much there. Asakura should be able to get this one done. And this one, the eye test is going to come into play because Asakura will win by either knockout or decision. There's no value on the knockout or decision prop, but both knockout and decision are at plus 150 odds. So this one, we'll wait for the eye test as right before the fight starts. We'll put that one out live.
All right, yeah, we're gonna get into giving you useful information live, where you do have the eye test, where you do have uh, experience, right, and pattern recognition. Recognize the pattern. You see something, or maybe somebody doesn't have the energy you thought they should have it. And you notice that energy is dangerous. Go live bet it, and we'll make some money. What's the next fight we're gonna look at, James?
All right, up next, we've got Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. And at first, I really was going to pick Cannonier here. I like how sound he is, both defensively and offensively. And I really don't like picking against him. Whenever he's in a fight that he should lose and we pick against him, he finds a way to win. That happened to us in the RoboCop fight. With that being said, after watching the weigh-ins today, I didn't realize the frame difference. MVP absolutely mogged on Jared Cannonier. And so seeing that based with his style of in and out, very selective with the shots. If you like to bet on over under for strikes, I would bet on the under here because Michael Venom Page, he's not a volume guy. He waits, he dances around on the outside, he's very evasive, and then he darts in, gets the shots he wants, and darts back out. He's really good at taking advantage of the void in there. And so I do think that MVP will win this fight, likely by decision, but possibly by knockout, just because he's good at picking his shots, and Cannonier's chin is semi-questionable these days. So MVP by knockout or decision at minus 185 odds.
-185. I love it. Knockout or decision. And James says lights out in the undercard. So when I look away, people watching in the video, when I look away, I'm placing a bet. I'm, I'm taking James's advice. What's the next fight we're going to look at, James?
All right, next fight brings us to the featured fight before the co-main and the main event, where we're going to be looking at Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates.
Jeff Neal.
Yep. And then obviously in this one, we're going to pick Carlos Prates here. He's one of the fighting nerds. Their gym has been incredible recently. And he's been on a nonstop KO streak. He did have an unfortunate last outing against Ian Gary, a very disappointing performance from him. But Gary, I hate to give him the credit, but he is very tricky on the feet. He's evasive, and he's been training at Shoot Box recently and implementing grappling to his already dangerous game. So Ian Gary is up there, and Prates nearly finished him there at the very end with just 30 seconds left in the fight. He dropped him and was going for some follow ups, and unfortunately couldn't get it done before the time ran out. But I do think that Carlos Prates should be Jeff Neal here. Very clearly, even if it goes to decision, he will win. So we can take knockout or decision for minus 200. And then again, watch for the live bets on this one because we'll be able to tell by the way both of them are moving within the first half of the first round if Prates is going to get the knockout or not, which I'm thinking he will here. But we'll save that one for live betting.
We'll save it for live betting. Uh, so when you look at our Twitter accounts, our Instagrams, it's a profit center. And it goes both ways. We've gotten great fortune. We've been fortunate, lucky, and good that, sorry about the echo. We got great feedback from the smart. We have a smart audience. We only want people who are smart, who can handle nuances and can give us good information back. Because sports betting is a collaborative effort. You're not trying to keep a secret, and you're trying to help your fellow man, and then you help yourself because you get more information. And we're in a war, right? We're in a war against now Paramount and Dana White, against other sports bettors, against the sports book, right? And we're in a fight to make more money than we burn. Bottom line. So to that end, James, it's a huge asset for us. And then when you go on our social media, yes, people have fun and games, but it's a profit center. You're gonna have more money than what you had before reading to our reading our social media posts. What's the next fight we're gonna look at, James?
All right, up next, I'll just set the stage for the co-main event. We've got Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico here. And in this fight, this is actually going to be Aaron Pico's debut fight in the UFC. We have a lot of debuters on this card, and it's kind of interesting to me that he gets such a high spot, just co-main event as a debut above Chase Hooper, who was on the prelims
Right.
below below a lot of other people who should have been switched with that, to be honest. But we've got Aaron Pico here, who has been on a dominant run and I believe was champion in Bellator. He's coming over from the Bellator promotion, and we've seen a lot of Bellator crossover with mixed results. Obviously, most famous Michael Chandler came over here from Bellator, and he's had a career over here. A couple wins, mostly losses. We saw just recently, Patricio Pitbull came over here from Bellator, lost his first fight to Yair Rodriguez, but actually had a really good performance against Dan Ige. And then we also saw Patchy Mix, who had a pretty bad performance against Jonathan Martinez, or no, Mario Bautista.
All right. So
So we'll
first, yeah, go ahead, James.
yeah. So we'll see that. So he does have very impressive highlights. If you watch Aaron Pico highlights, you will be shocked. He has that knockout power. It seems like he has that rhythm. Um, it's not like he's like that throughout the whole fights. Those are obviously highlights. But we compare that with Leroy Murphy here, who is undefeated. He hasn't lost yet. He's 16-0-1. I believe there's a no contest in there, some sort of foul made them void the fight, but he has not lost a single fight. And he's fought opponents similar to Aaron Pico, uh, as in Josh Emmett, who is also a very hard power hitter with knockout power in pretty much just about every punch he's got. So he's been there to deal with it, and he's been in 5 rounds a couple times, whereas this will likely be Aaron Pico's first 5 round fight after coming over here from Bellator.
Very interesting stuff. So, David Ellison, who now is the UFC, Dave Barrett, who was a producer for The Apprentice. Uh, he knows the voice, right? So what they care about is the show. They want people who puts on a show. They're going to be very, very data driven moving forward, and for sure, the big business project kind of approach. But for sure, this week we're going to get a lot of underlying information on the Substack. So the Substack is $12.99 a month, $500 lifetime subscription, but you get paid for reading information. We apply fundamental analysis, which gets you rich in the stock market, and we apply it to sports betting. All right. And James takes it to the next level. And James is going to be posting information there, and that's where we post. Uh, it's going to be pretty much half the cards, right? And we're going to be like the whole CBS fights will be on Substack. But again, we give 90% of the information we give for free. Just this is we're all in this together. It's a collaborative effort. What's the next fight we're going to look at, James?
That brings us to the main event here. So I'll set the stage for Dricus Duplessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. And the way that I'm viewing this fight is I'm viewing this fight as two separate fights. There's the first round, and then there's the rest of the fight.
Right.
Because Khamzat is very explosive off that first round. He will empty the gas tank. He will blitz you nonstop going for the takedowns. Kamzat will wrestle you. He will do everything he can to get you to the ground no matter what it takes. Whereas Duplessis has mostly striking favored style. He is known to mix it up. He does have some very awkward but effective takedowns. His style is actually really goofy when you watch it, and it's surprising how well it works. Um, looking at the last four fights of each of these guys, they've all won the last four, so they're 4-0 in their last four. Whereas Kamzat's last four were against Gilbert Burns, Kevin Holland, Kamaru Usman, and Robert Whitaker. And when we compare that to Dricus Duplessis' last four, where he beat Robert Whitaker, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, and Sean Strickland again. Um, I do think I do think Duplessis is a little stronger, especially the way they both beat Whitaker. Duplessis actually TKO'd Whitaker, whereas Chimaev he was still in a very dominant position. He was going for the rear naked choke, didn't have it under the chin, had it right on the mouth, and Robert Whitaker just had like a genetic issue. He just had bad teeth, and he just happened to snap his teeth off, which caused him to tap. So, bit of a lucky win there for Chimaev. Whereas I don't rate the Gilbert or Holland fights that well because I mean, we just saw Daniel Rodriguez beat Kevin Holland recently. So, how good is a Kevin Holland win really? So, that's my thoughts on the strength of schedule there. And so, like I said, this fight, we're going to see how it goes the first round, and then there's the rest of the fight after that. And I'll just leave it at that for the stage setting, and then we'll have the predictions on Substack.
We'll have the predictions on Substack. Uh, we have a very smart, successful audience. Substack is going to be a lot more interaction because at the end of the day, we want smart, successful people with money that want to share valuable information, and they're listening to understand and get to the truth to predict outcomes. They're not listening to argue, to start an argument, right? Because you're wasting time. Highest and best use of your time. So, very exciting time, very exciting fight in Chicago. Any last words, man? What are you thinking?
Dude, I'm just ready for after the past couple weeks of mediocre cards. We finally got a real good one. I'm excited for this fight. I'm shaking. I can't wait. I'm feeling good about our picks as well. Getting ready for that profit.
Right, in a steady profit. Uh, I used to call it like a get rich slow scheme, but it's really fast if you think about it. Salesmen think short term. Businessmen and women, salesmen think short term. Businessmen and women think long term. Long term thinking is higher level thinking. That's why the $7.7 billion spent on the UFC for the long term, for subscriptions, subscription service for Paramount. Plus, they need an international audience. The UFC gives that. So you got to think about the long term, steady growth, the scalable and consistent. That's what makes it a business. But it evolves, and we're fortunate, lucky, and good. Before uh, we knew some things, we're the 60th sports betting podcast in the country, but without corporate affiliation. We don't have a corporate boss buying downloads. We're the seventh overall sports betting podcast in the state of Florida. But now we're getting a lot better. And now we're really going. So we're very excited about what's going on. But there's two different ways to approach things, and both ways work, right? You got Hamas, you got Putin. Putin is an assassin. He got 1 million men killed. He's cheated on all his wives. Uh, he's murdered every single enemy he has, and he lives a very prosperous, happy life. James and I, we have a different approach. We have a collaborative approach. Out of every 10 people you help genuinely, and give them value, two of them are really going to appreciate it and reciprocate with value. Those are the only two people we need. Those are the two people we want around us. So I always end the podcast with our philosophy, James and I. Long-term thinking. Winston Churchill during World War II, during the fireside chat, said, "You make a living from your labor, but you make a life from what you give." We give away 90% of the information. All right. So thank you. Thank us for the ESPC Sports Betting Podcast and looking forward to those live bets tomorrow. All right. Let me stop the YouTube live.